and he's basically counseled me, son, do it as a hobby. And so I went to Warwick University and did an English degree and taught English in Paris for a year. And then when in my mid 20s, I was thinking, I've been playing the piano for ages. I've got to have a go at it. And basically, I started extremely late as a musician. Maybe it's a bit like somebody coming along saying, I'd like to run a business and be expert in the Chamber of Commerce, but I'm starting at 35. And before that, I was doing something completely different. So, what I've had to do is pursue my own path and acquire a lot of very unusual skills. So, the other crazy thing is that the instrument in which I'm an expert is the harmonica, and I didn't start this till I was 28. So if you'd said, if you'd said, most of the people I teach at the Royal College of Music and most of the kids that come in there are 18 and they've already like incredible musicians. So how do you start something late? That's one of the interesting things. And the other thing that I think is important is that you may be in a completely different area of work, and somehow, I was speaking to Matt. Somebody has a guitar up in their loft. Somebody has a harmonica in the drawer. Somebody once had fantastic time when they were 16. And I think that if you tap into those experiences and find a way to support yourself, keeping it alive, that can be a really important creative source for you enriching whatever you're doing, even though it has nothing to do with music. So I'll just give you a little taste of what I do. I have a keyboard here. I'm just going to change cameras. And one of the things that I learned to do, first of all, I always visualized a keyboard when I played. So So let's just change that. So that's the kind of thing which I've spent a huge amount of time doing, playing the piano and the harmonica at the same time, and using the piano as a kind of a visual map so that I can play in all keys. And so on. So this, I think there's very few people in the world that actually do that. They're harmonica players and they're pianists, but there's only maybe half a dozen of us that do both. So how is this relevant to you? Well, the thing that, because I've started so late, the thing that really interests me is if somebody comes along and they have their own business and they're doing something, they say, look, I would like to start getting back in touch with my own musical roots. I love supporting that. I don't care if you don't even know where middle C is on the piano. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to take what they're absolutely most interested in. And this is the nub of what my talk is about, is if I was to say to any one of you, what is your greatest level of expertise? And could you translate that into something that's useful to somebody that knows nothing about it? So you might be an investment banker. You might have huge experience. Matt's talking about recruitment. And the other gentleman in our thing was an expert in rail engineering. It becomes really interesting if you can make a connection with an expert and take away something that is useful to you. And so the thing that I think is the key to this, if I was to try and assist somebody right now, is I would say, what music is important to you? What music was important to you when you were 10, when you were 16, or when you were 35, or any of those times? And what I love doing, and I do this with all my students, is that, I can tell you what I think is the best music to listen to, but that's my opinion. But a lot of people are not taught to really listen to their own musical heart. So I might say, look, I'm an expert and Miles Davis is brilliant and Hugh Masekela is brilliant. And you might hate Miles Davis and Hugh Masekela. And you might like Bura music. And my answer to you, or you might like Die Antwoord. I don't know if people know that crazy South African band. So my message to you is trust what you like and explore that, and don't be concerned with other people's opinions until you've listened to your own heart. And then what I like doing then is if somebody was learning with me, I would transcribe the Antwoord. I would describe a Burra music. I would make some PDFs and audio things which would help you listen to them and then decide how can you integrate that into what you do. Somebody may be working a 3-day week and they've got 4 days to practice. That's one kind of system. Somebody else may be so super busy that they can only do something once a week or once every 3 weeks. And I find it really exciting to support someone to get into a long-term habit of practicing connecting to music and their instrument and their own personal likes, and then to see where you are in 3-5 years time. I mean, you business people are expert at 5-year predictions, investment banking. The market will do this by the end of the century. I think the same thing can be done in music, and I think musical skills. And I think that's as much as I would say for now. I'm happy to. Have I gone enough, Tanya? Is that enough time? So I'm happy to take any questions or follow whatever is next on the agenda.
Fantastic.
Thank you
That
for
was
listening.
that was amazing, Adam, and I thank you so much. That really kind of made us all feel something. For me, that's really, really kind of important. So let's just go. Do we have any questions? Uh, uh, just Sven, you've unmuted. Go for it.
I'm not a question, but I do. You said you've got something sitting in your cupboard, like a guitar. And actually, I have my father's harmonica, which was always sitting there. And I've always said I must pull it out one day and actually try and learn to play it. And yeah, I think you probably inspired me to actually pull my finger out or pull my harmonica out and actually play it. 'Cause it's something I need to learn.
I'm delighted to hear that, Sven. And may I ask you a question? What music comes to mind, ideally, if you could wave a magic wand, that you'd like one tune you'd like to be able to play at your next major board meeting?
Good question. I mean, it would have to be. That's difficult because I can't even think of what genre I do. It would be 70s, something 70s.
Well, I
Yeah, I
always
wouldn't
say
be able
there's
to.
no wrong answers, and the answer to a question like this may occur to you at 3 this afternoon or next week. There's no wrong answers, but I think what's
Yeah.
interesting is the question has sparked off this connection.
Yes. Thank you.
Definitely. That's amazing, isn't it? Because we're all kind of I'm sure we're all thinking about that now. And what I'm also thinking is, and what you've just said, Adam, so clearly is just listen to your own musical heart here. Because if I said to you, it's going to be Mango Groove today, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, what is everybody else in this room going to say? There's so much judgment there. And
Exactly.
if we can get past that and think that it doesn't matter, this is just something purely for your kind of enjoyment. I think that's quite difficult. Um, any questions here? I don't want to be the one talking all the time.
Jason, I think we've met, Adam. I remember we had an Ubuntu call once, and you joined. So I do remember meeting you. I don't know if you remember, but thanks for that. That was amazing. And hopefully we can hear a little bit more later. Is that the surprise that's coming? Because that was brilliant. So my question is around like, I'm pretty tone deaf. I can't, so I got a guitar upstairs in the loft too. It's actually was signed, not my guitar, my wife won it, and it's signed by Olivia Rodrigo, actually. So I'm not going to be learning the guitar, but I'm pretty tone deaf, but I can whistle pretty decently. So why is that? I can whistle like a tune, like the songs that I'm a Liverpool supporter, so I'll sing some of them, but I can't sing, I'll whistle them. I can't sing them, but I can whistle the tune. Why is that? And is there a barrier there for that I'm challenged with, or just what's your experience on that?
I've heard a lot of people use this phrase, I can't hold a note, I'm tone deaf. And
Correct.
my
That's me.
assessment of somebody's musicality is not what they can do, but how much they like music, how much they personally enjoy it. So I would bet you that if you somewhere somebody gave you the message that you were tone deaf, and I suspect that if you can whistle and with a bit of support, I think you'd find that you could sing. One of the things that I encourage people to do is not to develop their musicality, is not to sing, but to try and pitch like you would hum something, you know?
Okay.
So, you might think, La Kuchoni Langa. You might just try, or Bobian Klim die Berg. You might just try anything like that in a fun, safe context. And if you had enough experience of safety around music, and that your kids weren't going to come and say, Dad, shut up, man, you sound terrible. If you
Exactly.
didn't have that kind of vibe going on, people think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a joke. But that's artistic abuse because it's
True.
going to inhibit you. You know,
That's
it,
why I
it,
just
it
whistle.
seems like a joke. My uncle's terrible. He tries to sing at parties. That kind of thing is destructive.
Yeah.
Even though you're sort of, you laugh it off. So I would say that, in your own time, if you wanted to take music further and you enjoy it, just find a safe place to explore it with someone.
Thank you. Thanks for that. There's hope.
There is. I'd also just like to say that, I play this very complicated harmonica, but I use these smaller teaching harmonicas, which I've got a number system, and you don't actually need to read music. If we had more time, I could show you, but the numbers on this enable you to blow, and so you can go. So these harmonicas, these little ones, are ones that I use a lot in workshops. And so if anybody wants to go down the harmonica route, I suppose I'm doing marketing here.
Well, you should.
This
No.
is where you start, and you can have a lot of fun with these. I've got 150 songs which you can play on this. You don't need to read a note of music, but what you have is the lyric, and you have a number above the syllable. So you might have.
First customer, first customer.
Yeah, Sven.
So
There
in
you
other
go.
words,
Please, yeah.
Gozi sikeleli. Now you just have the number, blow, 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 draw, draw. And I do these things on gigs. I literally write out a phrase, and in the middle of the gig, in the interval, I'll give out 3 harmonicas to volunteers in the audience, and I say, guys, practice this one phrase. And when they come back, they just go, and that's all they do. And that's the key to starting to play music, is to learn one phrase inside out. It's very related to language. If you wanted to speak Zulu, the first thing you do is you memorize a greeting. Sawubona unjani wena. You would memorize a greeting that you could just do without thinking. And so, anyway, this could turn into a harmonica lecture, but please, more questions if you have any, folks.
Anybody else have a question before we go to breakout rooms? I mean, apart from the fact that I would love you to put your workshop details in the chat as well, or we will send them. If you send them to me, we can send them out. I'm a little bit scared that I might send my husband for a workshop, and then that I might end up doing artistic abuse. But I shall.
I will support him to.
I know
to
you
put
will.
Up to put up a respectful barrier.
Actually, you'd be very good, but it is interesting that so much of these things that we've been told were things we were told when we were very young. But I've just got one last question. What inspired you at the age of 28 to pick up the harmonica and not another instrument?
Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder. when I
Amazing.
saw him playing the harmonica, I thought, hey, hang on, I've got one of these. I literally had it in a drawer for 10 years.
Wow.
And then I think I could already play piano gigs, and so I was able to teach myself.
Amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much. That was incredible. I'm going to send everybody to breakout rooms now, and I've got something for you to ponder on. You can either, if you're brave enough, say what music speaks to your heart. I will leave that with you. But also, if we're talking about specialized skill and how that can be transferred to another area, or how that can be how that specialized skill can be transferred to someone else or in another context. Um, that would be great. But yeah, have a great time meeting one another, and enjoy. And I hope you feel as lovely as me, just from that incredible conversation. Um, have fun, everybody. Juliet, do you have the breakout rooms ready? There we go. Have fun, everyone.